As the new week dawns, the atmosphere in the town of Dupree feels thick not just with the fog that creeps through its narrow streets, but with the weight of secrets teetering on the edge of exposure. In a recently released preview clip, a moment barely lasting a few seconds ignited a wave of speculation and disbelief. Leslie and Hayley, two women long assumed to be unrelated, appeared together in an uncharacteristically intimate setting, seated side by side at a small cafe table downtown, sharing subtle smiles and what seemed unmistakably like genuine affection. The brief footage captured a closeness that no one in town had ever seen before, not even whispered about, and it raised a string of burning questions. How long had they been in contact? Why had no one noticed, and most importantly, what exactly were they hiding? The revelation that followed shook not only the audience, but also threatened to upend the intricate power dynamics already in play within the town. Leslie and Hayley, far from being casual acquaintances, were sisters, bound by blood, connected by a shared and carefully buried history that had been deliberately kept from public knowledge for decades. It was not an oversight or a forgotten subplot, but a secret guarded meticulously by the two women themselves, hidden behind facades of indifference and distance. Not because they were ashamed or lacked opportunity to reveal it, but because the truth, once out, would destroy the fragile identities they had each crafted and maintained. Leslie had always been seen as a master strategist, a cold and calculating force who navigated the shifting tides of Dupree with precision and distance. She knew that if her familial tie to Hayley came to light, the image she had carefully cultivated over the years, as an enigmatic outsider, a behind-the-scenes manipulator with no emotional ties, would unravel. Her power relied on perception, on remaining just far enough removed from the tangled loyalties that ruled the town. Hayley, on the other hand, had chosen a softer mask, embedding herself into Bill's world, securing her place within his estate, and slowly tightening her grip through charm, warmth, and emotional influence. Her control was quiet but deep-rooted, and any revelation linking her to Leslie would threaten her entire position. Still, no amount of deception can endure forever, and the mounting tension surrounding Laura's mysterious death had brought Kat and Jacob dangerously close to discovering Leslie's involvement. Every thread pulled led back to her. And in a town like Dupree, where every move is monitored, where whispers are currency and silence is lethal, the sisters realized that their only viable path forward was to unite. No longer could they operate separately, not when the stakes had risen beyond containment. Their alliance wasn't born of reconciliation or affection. It was a necessity forged by shared danger and mutual benefit. Hayley, still likely lying about her pregnancy, clung to the illusion with strategic purpose. The suggestion of a child gave her added sway over Bill, diverted suspicion, and kept others from questioning her deeper motives. Meanwhile, Leslie began to deploy her vast network of influence to manipulate the ongoing investigation, planting evidence, corrupting testimonies, and leveraging old loyalties in ways no one could predict. Kat and Eva, however, were not so easily fooled. Their pursuit of truth intensified, and it soon became evident that unraveling Leslie's secrets meant confronting the sisters' joint history. A long-buried past hovered on the edge of revelation, and whispers of an upcoming flashback episode promised answers, memories of a childhood shaped by abandonment, betrayal, and forced separation. Leslie and Hayley had not simply chosen secrecy out of fear. Their silence stemmed from wounds that had never healed, choices made in desperation, and possibly even moments where one had sacrificed the other to survive. Perhaps Leslie once tried to save Hayley from something unspeakable. Or maybe Hayley had once turned her back on Leslie when trust was most needed. Whatever the case, their shared past, now resurfacing, was bound to connect to larger conspiracies involving Martin's unexplained behavior and Kenneth's ominous blackmail attempts. If the insider leaks were to be believed, the bond between Leslie and Hayley wasn't just a twist. It was the central axis upon which the entire narrative had been rotating. The death of Laura, the reappearance of long-forgotten documents, Martin's vanishing, the cryptic threats from Kenneth. All roads pointed back to the sisters, their origins, and the truth they had buried together. This was no longer about separate ambitions, but a coordinated, calculated operation cloaked in sibling silence. And once it came to light, Dupree would never be the same. How would the town react? How would Bill, already reeling from layers of betrayal and secrets, cope with the realization that Hayley, the woman he trusted implicitly, had been working in tandem with Leslie all along? What would Kat and Eva do once they realized they were not dealing with two independent women but a single, strategic unit? Would they fight harder? Or would they fall into the traps laid for them months ago? For now, only one thing was certain. Leslie and Hayley had outmaneuvered everyone by simply remaining quiet, by never acknowledging their shared blood, by moving like shadows across opposing sides of the board while in truth, every move was part of the same plan. In this landscape of deceit and shifting allegiances, the sisters had become the most dangerous entity Dupree had ever seen. Their motivations weren't just about survival, they were about dominance, legacy, and the reclamation of a narrative long stolen from them. And while their methods differed, their goal was singular and absolute: control. Each interaction they had, each conversation overheard, every misleading piece of information leaked, was designed to manipulate outcomes and suppress opposition. Whether Hayley's feigned vulnerability or Leslie's cold efficiency, each was a weapon. And now that those weapons were aligned, the town found itself on the brink of an irreversible shift. What remains to be seen is the depth of their connection, not just in blood, but in conviction. What had they done to protect each other in the past? Who had they hurt? Had they ever truly trusted anyone but themselves? Would this alliance hold under pressure, or would old wounds rupture the fragile truce they had formed? A source hinted that the answer might lie in the diaries found in Martin's study, notes that detailed encounters between Leslie and an unnamed accomplice decades ago. There was also mention of a photograph, old and faded, showing two girls standing together in front of a crumbling estate, believed to be the original family home, now lost to time and overgrown with ivy and secrets. These fragments, still unrevealed, could shift the narrative again, connecting not only the sisters, but also explaining the blackmail Kenneth had leveraged against both Martin and Bill. As the town braces for the fallout, there's a growing realization that Leslie and Hayley's sisterhood is not just an emotional bombshell. It is a tactical, potentially catastrophic development in the greater game playing out across Dupree. No one, not even the most calculating figures, saw this coming. And now, with the truth inching ever closer to the surface, the rules have changed. No one is safe. No territory remains untouched. Every ally becomes a liability. Every secret becomes a weapon. And at the center of it all are two women who have waited their entire lives to seize this moment. Leslie and Hayley are no longer supporting characters or isolated players. They are the architects of chaos, the stewards of secrets, and the arbiters of Dupree's future. Their alliance, born in blood and sharpened by betrayal, could be the final turning point. And next week, when the next episode airs, the town may finally understand what it means to go beyond the gates, into the heart of darkness, into the mind of conspiracy, and into the hands of two sisters who have nothing left to lose.